Hello, my name is Jess and I'm in a very cold studio on a cold Melbourne day, and I'm here to talk to you about how to create a character. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a different character. It's going to be an iceberg. But before I get into that, I thought I'd show you a few of the books that I've created in the past. So I've done, I think I'm almost up to 30 books now, but every time I try and do things a little bit differently. So I experiment with either the texture or the way I create it, whether it's on a computer or on paper, the style, and I basically just try and learn something new every time I make a book. And so for the book Iceberg, that was published in 2001, written by Claire Saxby and published by Allen and Unwin, the tricky part for me was working out how to create the look of ice, which is what we're going to be talking about today. In this book, the iceberg is actually the lead character. So instead of having something like an animal or a person to be following through the story, the whole book is about this iceberg and it follows its life through the seasons. It was a really fun book to create, and it had lots of tricky bits for me, along with turning an iceberg into something that you could follow and find kind of interesting through the pages. There was this massive gatefold spread which focused on the life underneath the iceberg in summer. And it took a long time to create this, but it was really fun. I've never been able to do a gatefold before, so I really loved working on that. So now that we've had a look at the book, I'll just talk about some of the places that I went to get some inspiration. So first of all, I like to research in person if I can. And obviously I couldn't get to Antarctica, but we're quite close to the Melbourne Zoo. So we went there a lot and looked at the way that the seals move through the ocean and had a fun time looking at the different plants and animals there that might be relevant. I also like getting a lot of research books. So some of those are for kids, so books about ice and the way ice forms, and some big books from the library about Antarctica with lots of great photos that show you exactly what's happened from the past and to the present. And I looked at some beautiful other books that other creators have made about Antarctica in their own picture books. After I'd done lots of research, I got sketching. So icebergs are pretty amazing because there's lots of different shapes. Lots of these shapes made it into the book, and I tried to explore all the different ways that they could be represented. To do this, I spent a lot of time sketching. So if you wanted to grab a piece of paper and a pen, you might like to try drawing some different icebergs yourself. So some of them are quite angular and sharp, and others are a bit softer and rounder. But of course, we all know that icebergs that you see at the top of the ocean are only a small part of it, and there's usually around 90% of the iceberg is underwater. Along with drawing lots of icebergs, of course, I had lots of fun drawing all the different animals that you can find in Antarctica, so you might like to draw some of those too. Things like seabirds and penguins, and of course all the beautiful whales, orcas and seals you might find underneath the ocean as well. Once you've had a play with building up lots of different shapes, it's time to start working out how we're going to make our iceberg come to life. And to do this, I thought I'd go through some of the materials that I used in the book. So along with just paper and paint, I grabbed lots of different things to make textures. So things like paper towels, sponges, rags and pieces of material, old paintbrushes, paints of course, and basically any bits and pieces I could find around the house that might leave an interesting mark. I then got, of course, the colours of ice, so lots of blues, silvers and whites, and last of all I needed, of course, my trusty water pot, and then I was ready to go. I used all of these materials on an old oven tray. So you might have something like this around your house, basically just something that you can roll your paint onto and play with your paint, and then we'll be using the oven tray to lift the paint off onto paper. So with all my bits and pieces together, I've got a lot of play here, just experimenting with different colours and all those bits and pieces I collected to make marks. So rolling out paint, sponges and materials to make the paint sort of merge together, and then just using a piece of paper, I pressed down and then lifted that off the tray. You can see lots was left behind, but I didn't need to wash that off. I just kept adding on layers and layers on top. So sometimes a bit of water helps to move things around. So adding on new layers. This time I'm going to make a bit of a lighter colour, using a tissue to make some shapes really roughly, and paper towel to take away and leave some more texture, and then pressing this all onto scrap paper and building some more icy shapes. Now I'm going to use some darker colour. And pressing it down again. And this is turning into a bit more of the darker parts of the iceberg. So I kept going and going with lots and lots of different experimentations. And as you can see, I use old paper from my studio, so on the back of things I've drawn before, just because it doesn't really matter what it looks like. We're just going to chop it up at the end, so it's fine to use scrap paper. So this might be a good time for you to give it a go. So maybe finding an oven tray or some sort of tray or material that you can put your paint on. And like I said, if you don't have a roller, that's fine, but you could use something like a rag to push the paint around, or an old paintbrush, and just experiment with different layers of dark colours and lighter colours and build up a little library of lots and lots of pieces of texture. You might even try pressing on some funny things, like I like using things I found in the mail and just seeing if that makes a cool effect onto the paper. So after you've experimented, you'll have a massive library of really cool textures, and these are going to be used to make our iceberg, but you also might save them for other projects. So you just have as many as you can make is fantastic. So as you can see in my iceberg from the book, all that texture made it onto the details of the iceberg, and I'm going to show you a bit of the way that I did this. So remembering about our iceberg shapes, I've just got my book back here to kind of inspire me about what kind of shape I want to create. You can also sketch out what would be your ideal iceberg for this project. So I'm going to make one that's kind of angular. And we don't have to stick exactly to this sketch. It's just to have a bit of an idea of some of the shapes that we might end up with, and also just to keep the size in mind. So now I'm going to look at my amazing library of all these textures and start working out what I want to put where. So I decided to start looking at some of the lighter pages that only have a little bit of either light paint or white paint, because they would usually be maybe up the top of the iceberg, not underneath the water. So I'm going to cut out some shapes and see how they look. So that kind of fits in well to that top shape. Not perfectly, but I think that's a good match. A bit more of that light blue. Cutting out some more shapes now, maybe in a slightly darker colour, so I quite like that texture there. And that looks good. You can move things around and change the layer shapes and also trim things down, but just kind of experimenting with how we want our layers of iceberg to look. And now I'm going to look at some darker colour. Chop, chop, chop. This, because it's a bit darker, it might be underneath the water. So I'm going to try placing that in that long shape underneath the horizon line. And let's have a look now at this one that I used with the bubble wrap. Quite like that texture that it created. So I chop out a piece of that. That's a nice big one for underneath. And I'm just going to continue experimenting and moving things around until I get a shape that I like. And I'm going to keep looking at all the different textures and work out which ones I like where. And finishing up now, our iceberg's looking pretty good, but I'm not quite ready to stick it down on the paper yet because I'm going to build, first of all, a bit of a background scene. So I've still got my paints nearby and another scrap piece of paper, and I'm just going to use a bit of blue on my paintbrush to create the ocean. I quite like this brush because it's quite a scratchy brush, but I love that texture that it creates. Bit of dark blue to represent the darker water below. And then put my iceberg back on top. So I'll keep putting my pieces back together and building up my iceberg. All these blue textures, the dark ones and the light ones, look really great against that smoothness of the ocean. And as I go, I might see another piece of texture that I want to add that I didn't have before, and that's fine. There's no rules with creating these icebergs, so we're having lots of fun just kind of experimenting and moving things about. There's the top. But that shape maybe doesn't quite fit anymore, so I'm going to try trimming that down a little bit more. Oop, that's a bit better. Stick that one down. And there we go, he's looking really good. So he's got those lighter textures at the top and some of the darker ones below. He's looking very regal. I think because we want that ocean to be clear and show that there's an above water and below water part of our iceberg, I'm just going to add a tiny bit of watery blue paint on top just to try and show that ocean part of the iceberg clearly. And that looks really good. So our iceberg is done and this guy's looking pretty snazzy. I might even add a few extra little penguins on top, but I'm really happy with how that's turned out. And because I've got such a big library of textures, I can do more icebergs. So I've had fun making all different sorts of size places to put the icebergs, even a giant cardboard box diorama. So I've got my iceberg there with all these textures, but lots of room around it to add lots of sea creatures and birds and the sun and that sort of thing. So you can keep experimenting with all those textures that you've created. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've had lots of fun making icebergs, either maybe a big diorama or a smaller artwork. It was lots of fun making it alongside you, and I've got nice blue fingers. And I've also got some textures that I've saved for another day, and I might make myself another iceberg to add to my scene. Thanks so much. Bye.